Good evening, everyone, and I would like to thank you for joining our session Enlightenment Through Meditation tonight, Saturday, 6 o'clock, every Saturday. And once again, I would like to thank you for joining me, and I would like to thank all those souls who are here physically, mentally, emotionally, astral planes, or higher planes. To be in the company of the truth or wherever that is being discussed is very powerful time in our lives. Sometimes we don't have the time to feel or to realize that what it really means to us. But as the time goes, as the time passes, we realize little by little that whatever time we spend in the company of those souls or at that place where the real truth of life is being discussed, those are very blessed moments. So because our these sessions are really based on the path of truth, the enlightenment comes by practicing the truth which is within us. We all know that we have truth. We always know when we are doing something that it is within us, but we don't feel it, we don't know it, and we think that we can get away without doing the truth. And there comes some messages from the divine or from the universe, but we just don't understand them unless we get in tuned within ourselves. So I'm again very thankful for you taking the time, your minds to get settled down so you can enjoy this session. As I mentioned last time, that we have been doing these sessions every Saturday, and we have gone so many of them that I have forgotten which number it is. But that's why I write here they are ongoing sessions. So, last time and before that time, we have been discussing that as we start following the path of truth within ourselves, what happens is the treasure, the divine treasures within us start to come up on the surface, and we start to become nicer, prettier, more likable. Those are all the treasures that they give us. So we did discuss love, the kindness, the humility, and all those things, as you all know. Today we are going to discuss something called grace. You know, what is this grace? Because generally we have heard this word, by God's grace this will happen, and some of us believe in it, some of us don't believe in it, which is fine. It's not our this session doesn't mean to prove right or wrong. Our session means really what that grace is and how it's being showered, right? So we what is grace really? Why do I get it? Because sometimes we say, oh, by the grace, I got this done. Why I don't get it? Sometimes we feel, man, this person is always getting it. Why don't I get it? And where the difference lies. What is this? What is shower? From where it is coming? Who is the giver of this so called grace? And sometimes I feel I get it, not get it, what exactly it is. Because grace in the path of spirituality or the path of awareness or path of self realization, as the realization becomes more and more prominent, we start feeling the grace becomes bigger and bigger. So we will just go over a little bit. What is this? Why we feel it is getting bigger, or exactly what's going on? So before I start, I just want to share a story. And the story is that there was this guy who was doing a lot of meditations, a lot of practicing, lot of good things, endeavors, and he went further and further in his awareness, where he felt like he has acquired a lot of powers, because that's also what happens when you go higher within yourself, because divine is working with us at that time. We start getting the powers. So this guy was doing all that, and he looked at the ground and he said, okay, I want a water fountain. And boom, there was a water fountain. And then he said, I want some birds, and there were some birds. So he was good, and he felt like, I have acquired a lot and this is good. So he kept on going in that path, and finally his end time came. So when the end time came, because he had done a lot of meditation and all that, when he was being taken wherever he was given a choice. It was said to him that if you want, by grace of God, because you have practiced so much, you can go straight to the best place ever. Or if you want, you can be judged for whatever goodness you have done to acquired, and then you can be evaluated and sent wherever you need to go. So this guy goes, he thought about it. He goes, that's a good one. But then the thought came to him, and he said, why, why should I get the grace? He said, I have really worked hard, and I have gotten lot of improvements. I have acquired a lot of powers within me. It was all my effort. So now, with my effort, I think the better thing for me is to get a judgment rather than grace, because I don't know what the grace means. So, after thinking, he says, you know what, I would like to be evaluated for what I have done, goodness, and I should be getting the results of that. I don't want the grace. So when the all judgments were made, it seemed that he was gonna go to a place that was not to his liking. Generally we understand there are good places we call heavens, and some places they're not so good, we call them, hells and stuff like that. He was not getting where he expected himself to see. So he got like upset. He said, I have done so much hard work and everything. Why I am being thrown into a lower side where I shouldn't go. I don't belong there. And the angel of death, that's what we say, the person who comes to take all the souls at the end. He said, the thing is that, yeah, you did a lot of things. You acquired, and there is gains. You have lots of gains. But you are forgetting that the air was given to you free. So you have to now pay for the air that you used all this time to do your exercises. And then you were drinking water out of a river, that was also free. And then you were eating the fruits from the trees, they were free. And the animals were coming, and you were having a good time enjoying them, that was all free. So there was so much in your life that was given free. Your heart was palpitating, your breath was coming, everything was happening. And then now, since you said you want a judgment against all that, now you have to pay. So all your goodness is going to be weighed against that. Had you taken grace, there was no judgment involved. You did good, and whoever the ultimate deciding person is would have said, by my grace I give you, because you worked hard. No judgment is needed. Just like when your child wants something and he has messed up something, he comes to you. You get so much in love, you go, I don't care what he did, I'm going to give it anyways. That becomes your grace, right? If the child starts to make a judgment, and I did this and you need to, you will sit down with a copy and pencil and you will say, I don't know about that, right? That's how it goes. So when that guy was telling him about that, he said, since you did not want to get the grace, now you have to balance all it out, and then you go to a lower a place where you didn't think you would go. Now, it was his understanding, he didn't realize, he didn't know what grace meant. All these things came into the play, but that's how the story ended up. So grace is something where we are doing whatever we are doing, but when we recognize where, for who we are doing, all these deeds that we have been learning about, the kindness, the goodness, that is all coming within us, and we just do them without asking for anything in return. There is something called sacrifice gets involved. Because when you love someone, you do something for that person, but you don't want anything in return. If in return something comes, that's good, that's really good. But that doesn't mean that you are doing it for that reason. If you didn't get anything, you will be equally happy. That's the definition of love and giving and sacrifice. And when we do those kind of acts, there is ultimately a creator who is running this show. And I'm sure that in the scriptures we all read that we call that creator Father God, Heavenly Father, or something like that. So Father means that there is some sort of, we have a relation. So when we do something out of our love for even someone else, because the same drop or essence of life is in every individual, every animal, every plant, every leaf, because everything whichever is life has that conscious power within it. So when you are serving someone else, although it may look like a tree, but if you are serving in love, you are not asking for anything from tree. It's just going out. When that becomes the attitude, the divine knows already. It is just the way the electricity, you may say, is flowing, that everything is connected from heart, not from mind, from heart. So when it is connected and it is going, it is being all recorded. Somewhere it is being recorded. Because I just talked about the story that there was a judgment, right? Judgment means something was recorded. Every action that we do, our heart knows, is being recorded. So what happens that when we get into that position where we are sacrificing, we are loving, and we are doing, and we are not asking anything in return, if you notice, that is the character of that creator, right? We are getting sunlight every single day. We like, we dislike, we may say something, but the sun is indifferent because it is running under the law, and it has to give light to everyone universally without any discrimination. There is no separation. I will give light to this person and not this person. Same thing, river is flowing. We can go out and get the water. Whoever wants, I want a cup, that's fine with river. I want buckets and buckets, that's fine with river. If I want to make a little, direction for the water to come to other way, that's also fine with the river. So we start coming with divine, the giving quality. Once that happens, the same grace that is going to these things and they are giving, that starts to flow within us. And we become more graceful. What happens when that grace starts to come to us? That's another thing. That what does happen? When the grace comes, we get out of discussions because we are not judging. We are not proving we are right or wrong. We are not making sure, we are not belittling everyone. We are not praising anyone either. We take almost like a neutral instance. We just enjoy. Whoever comes and discusses something with us, we even get out of agreeing or not disagreeing. We look that individual as another conscious, active entity who is expressing itself in a different body. So when that becomes our attitude and we get out of judgment, then we become neutral, and that grace flows through us because we are also conscious entity. And that grace starts to come, and because grace is giving all the time, the more we take that attitude, the more grace comes to us. So we grow bigger and bigger in those divine qualities which are within us, right? So this is what the grace is, and that's how we recognize that we are getting that grace that is coming, and we start enjoying. The other thing that happens along with this is our attitude changes because we start flowing. That's why if somebody is saying something, rather than us becoming like a rock and it's hitting back, we become so porous. It comes here and it flows right out, but without any negation, without any negative thing, without any belittling, without any anger, without any animosity. It just flows just like water. And that becomes the grace that starts to fall on us. And then what happens when this starts to get bigger? I mean, this is really beautiful how this whole system works once we know how we can play this game, because it is also a divine game being played and we are the little puppets being thrown here and there. But as our understanding through self-realization grows, we start becoming a player, not only the puppet. So, as I was mentioning, that as this grace starts to come, divine starts to work with us. So, let's say someone comes and we are sharing something, and we don't know if we would have any food in the evening to eat, for argument's sake. We just don't know how it will happen. I don't have time to fix something or whatever. And we are having a great time. We are having a nice discussion. And not really that we can have one discussion and all this will follow, but we are growing in our inner awareness. And we have reached to a point where we feel the grace coming or not coming, and how does it flow. So let's say we were having this thing and we didn't know what to do. How the divine works is suddenly we will find that some circumstances, something so happens, either we get invited by someone to a dinner or a lunch or whatever, or somebody is saying, you know what, I was thinking of fixing something and I thought I should bring the food. Or you will not know how, where, what circumstances, and you are not even expecting anything, but it will come. It is coming, not by our efforts. So that means I didn't fix anything. I didn't make an effort to do anything. But if it is coming to me, that means someone is taking care of me by their grace, not that I'm asking. If I was asking, that means I did this A, B, C, D. Now give me food in the return. That is strictly doing the business. And in the path of awareness, business doesn't work, because I just mentioned the story that the guy said, I did this, you did this, or this and that, or maybe he wasn't even aware. He thought it is my right to take the air. Who's going to take air away from me? But realize, even if we make a little thing, we put always our name there, made by such and such. If I make an umbrella, I want to know that this is created by this. We have our business DKWS, and all our products show this is done by DKWS. So same thing, but when it comes to sun, we don't know. Unless we go within ourselves, we don't know the creator. Sometimes we all know there are people who go, there is no creator. Right or wrong, they are at that level of awareness. There is no judgment about them, why they feel that way or should not or should. It doesn't really matter. That's where they are. But for sure, as we start growing more and more and more, the realization comes. And that is why I keep on repeating that this is called path of self-realization. When little incidents start happening and little things are coming in our life, we start realizing, you know what? Yeah, there is a lot of grace. You start enjoying, because the body starts feeling, the mind starts feeling, and it is very peaceful. That's another thing. Grace, because it comes by love. You cannot do graceful actions to someone in anger. It doesn't go that way. But when you love someone, you don't want to think about it. You go, you know what? I'm going to do it because I'm going to do it because I love this person. So, grace. What is grace? We talked about. The grace is that love, that heavenly divine love that flows to a person without being judgmental. Why I get it? So, why would I get it? As we start growing more and more in our self awareness and bringing out those positive qualities within us, the loving qualities, sharing qualities, concern, giving, being humble, listening, rather than just always talking. All these qualities, when they start coming, positive qualities without expectation, without an ego, then what happens? The As our awareness grows up, the grace automatically comes. These qualities bring the grace within them. It's such a system. It just works like that. So why I get it? Because I am working on my own self. I am increasing those qualities. That's why I would get that. Why I don't get it? Sometimes we don't get. We get very hardships. We get very tough times. Why? Why that grace doesn't come? When it sees everything is a conscious entity, why it doesn't flow equally? And that's a very good question. But the answer to that question is we all operate differently. We have brought a lot of our thought process, which we say comes by genes, but genes are also made due to a certain reason in a person. Two brothers or two sisters raising in the same family may not be the same because how they brought their existence into this living world, it's totally different. So if the thinking becomes still at a point where this awareness has not grown higher quite yet, we still get very angry. We are always very egotistical. We are very greedy. I mean, those are all stages. If we are still struggling at that stage, we won't be able to either get or realize the grace. Because even if it is coming, it is going to be so small for us, we won't be able to. Just like if you see, like in a room, it's filled with clutter and clutter, a lot of it, and you put a little bit of a gold piece, or a diamond in a corner in a cluttery room. Even if it's a diamond, we won't be able to see it because it'll be covered with that. So when we are not quite developed in self-awareness, very difficult to recognize that grace. Although sun is coming, grace is there. Although water is coming, it is there. I mean, everything that is happening to the other person is also there for that person who has not grown within themselves for the awareness. But the recognition of that grace is not quite there because the mind has taken over and it has a lot of clutter. And last point is where the difference lies, and I think that's what we are covering. The difference lies in the level of awareness. How we have grown within ourselves, how far we have grown, what we see. Like, for example, if in a way we can say that if somebody is sitting in a helicopter, can see a lot bigger perspective of everything because they are high up there, rather than being in a very small closet, we can only see the closet. So a person who is standing in a closet, it just happens that they are standing in the closet. But that doesn't mean that the person who is in the helicopter is any higher. The placing is there. That person is placed over there. This person is placed over here. So this person's visibility, awareness is only limited to the closet. The person has to make the effort to come out, has to come in the room, has to go on the street, has to recognize the city, has to know that, yeah, they can go to the airport, has to, all these awareness steps have to come. Whereas in the person who is already in a helicopter or an airplane has already gone through those steps. So that is where the difference lies. And as the awareness gets bigger and bigger and bigger and higher, the grace that is already given to us, we start recognizing it more and more, and we start enjoying it more and more, and we start to be thankful more and more. We always in our lives we come across people, sometimes they are talking to us and they will tell us this is negative and this is negative and this is negative and this is more negative in their lives, and everything is negative. What is happening in that situation? Yeah, the things are not happening because they want something to happen, and it is not happening according to their liking, therefore it is not good. But they would not say, yeah, I was able to breathe all right, my body is good all right, I can take a shower all right, I can think all right. There are many people who are sick in the mental hospitals. There are many people who cannot walk. There are so many negative things that can happen, but once the person's inner awareness gets higher, when they get up, the first thing they go, thank goodness, I can breathe again. Isn't that nice? I think it's very nice, because if we were not able to breathe, there won't be any life and there won't be any liking or disliking, because we don't exist in that situation. So that is a little bit understanding of grace, what it is, how do we get it, why don't we get it, because why don't we get it versus we get it, but why don't we understand it? I think that is better, because everybody gets grace, but inner work is needed. And when we start to walk on the path of truth, the inner guidance is also coming to us, because the inner teacher is within us. We all know, I have shared it many times, we all know what goes on, how does it go on, but we don't want to take the time to listen to ourselves. So as we start taking the time to listen to ourselves, get more in tune, start walking on the path of truth, I'm sure we will be able to recognize the grace. So with that, I would like to thank all of you who have taken the time to sit and enjoy this session, I hope. And once again, want to remind you that if there are any questions or you would like to write to us during the session or after the session, please do not hesitate to write to us at our website. You can leave comments, which is drkors.com. You can always visit our Facebook page, drkors.com/Facebook. You can watch all these videos on the Ustream, like right now, or later on where they are recorded. And as I mentioned last time, we are uploading these videos on YouTube, and you can watch them on youtube.com/Dr. Kors. It is always really exciting to do these sessions and be able to share everything with you, my computer listeners, and the people who come here to the facility. Very, very thankful for everything that goes on. And also remember, happiness is not too far. It is within our reach if we like it. And we all like it, want it, because we want to be peaceful. So with that, I want to let you know I love you all, and I would see you next Saturday, the same time, 6 o'clock Saturday. Thank you so much, and enjoy rest of the evening. Bye bye.